You're listening to the SClubBeat with Dale and Katey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SClubBeat. I am Dale.
And Katey.
And we are here to talk about SClub's debut album. Katey, do you know what time it is?
No.
It's time to have a feel-good time, Katey. You get it?
Yes, I do. You're weird.
Buenos tiempo. Which apparently, according to some of the Spanish fans on the world of SClub, not sponsored, it is, the lyrics don't make sense. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
Hey, anyway, it flied for us when we were growing up.
Yeah, it was great. It was
we're speaking Spanish.
Yay! We'll talk about that later in the episode, but we are here to talk about SClub's self-titled debut album, which was released on October 4th of 1999. So this is after we received Bring It All Back. It's after we received SClub Party, and then we got the album in October. So it didn't have anything leading up to it. It's just towards the end of SClub Party era, and then bam, album. So yeah. So we're gonna skip talking about all of the singles, because if you want to hear about Bring It All Back, You're My Number One, 2 in a Million, or SClub Party, go to the first 3 episodes. We're not gonna rehash that. Those are very lengthy episodes. There's no need to weigh this one down with that. So the first song we're gonna talk about, Katey, do you know what song that is?
Everybody Wants You.
You have an answer. Yay!
I do. I'm paying attention.
So it's the song Everybody Wants You, which is a Joe and Rachel led track. How do you feel about this? We heard this first in Wind Resistance. And for anyone who has not yet listened, or I guess we haven't even recorded it yet, or we may have recorded it, I don't know, Katey. But this is the first episode that I watched of SClub. It was Wind Resistance with Joe and Rachel and the coconut. Well, Paul was in the coconut.
Yeah.
And they were in the basement during the hurricane episode. So
every time I listen to this song, I think of the coconuts.
The coconuts. So
it's hard not to.
That was a very good episode. It's probably one of my standouts, because it was my first soiree into SClub. So yeah. I kind of love that. But what were your first impressions of the song?
I mean, it's catchy. The dance makes me laugh just because I call it it's like an exercise dance.
It's a Congo line.
It's just, well, no, when they're like the chorus, they just, tap one foot out that way, tap one foot that, it's like an aerobics class.
Well, I mean, essentially that's what early SClub was, an aerobics class for children.
Yeah. Gotta go step, 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 look.
So something about Everybody Wants Ya, it's that it was featured in a Liz McGuire episode. Did you watch Liz McGuire, Katey?
Bits and pieces. My mind was still in SClub. You couldn't change it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I had a dual mind, so I was able to love Hilary Duff and Liz McGuire and SClub at the same time. So come to my surprise, when the episode aired, it's an episode called Model Behavior, where Lizzie's a model for something. I don't know. I haven't seen it since 2002. And everybody
probably a teen fashion show at the mall.
Probably.
Very 2000.
Very, very that. But yeah, Everybody Wants It come on, and my worlds collided in that moment, Katey. They collided. It was I couldn't describe that moment to you, but it was also featured on the soundtrack for that TV show. So this is the first of the 2 Disney crossovers we have for SClub. And I'm going to preface this here because I don't know where else to talk about it, because I don't feel like talking about it in the Seeing Double episode. But Can You Feel the Love Tonight was on the first Disney Mania, Katey.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't on the list. So I'm sorry for springing this on you without prefacing.
You know how I do with last minute.
It's fine. You
make me think.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight was released at, I think, the beginning of 2003.
Yeah, it was really late.
It was really late. But those vocals are from 1999. You cannot tell me that Joe's vocals sounded like that in 2003. Joe and John's vocals did not sound like that in 2003. You can't tell me. You can't tell me nothing.
I can't tell you because I've never thought about it.
But those vocals sound very premature. And like we discussed in some of the other episodes, S Club existed before what we know it as, and it consisted of them recording a lot of covers. I believe this is one of the covers that they recorded, and then they just gave it to Disney, and because Disney had to grant permission for them to use it, and then they just never did. And
Right.
then Disney was putting together the Disney Mania album. They're like, "Oh, you have this," and then S Club are like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Let's," because S Club didn't promote it.
Right.
They probably don't even know it exists into the world. So I do believe "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" was recorded around the S Club album time, which is why I feel comfortable bringing it up now. So Everybody Wants Ya, "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." So how would you rate Everybody Wants Ya, like on a scale of 1 to 10, Katie?
A 6.
A 6?
I feel like S Club had it different than a lot of bands because, like, the singles, like a lot of bands, I know just the singles because, that's what they promote. But having the series, like, every song was technically promoted. So, I mean, and there was a lot of non-singles that were performed. So,
Yeah, I
you
get it.
know,
And
I don't
plus,
really differentiate them.
yeah, and Everybody Wants You was promoted like on the children's TV shows in the UK. So like we have random
Yeah,
performers
Live and Kick.
on on
Yeah.
Live and Kick In. "Can You Feel the Love Tonight"? How would you rate that on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, it's middle of the road too for me, like a 6. Like,
Okay, so I'm gonna give that
I
one a
don't know.
2.
Okay.
I don't love S Club covers because, well, I do love some of the S Club. There's one S Club cover I love, and we'll talk about that way later. But I don't love covers. And "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" is such a strong song by Elton John from The Lion King, because like, and I don't know, I don't love it. I don't love it.
I think being a John and Joe duet, like, puts it up for me because I love when they duet together.
That's fair. They do have a beautiful blending voice. All right, so the next song we're going to talk about is "Viva La Fiesta." And I know I said we weren't going to talk about songs that we previously talked about, but there's an important caveat that I did not include when we talked about this during S Club Party. And that is "Viva La Fiesta" was actually covered by another artist, a Japanese artist. I have her name. It was Asari Mizuki. I do apologize if I am pronouncing that wrong. I do not speak Japanese, and their names are kind of foreign to me, so I apologize. If anyone could correct me, that would be great. So it was recorded in Japanese and retitled "Break All Day." It was released as a single, and it peaked on number 20 on the Oricon charts. And it was the theme song to the television show "Leave It to the Nurses." So that was all very interesting. Katie, how did you feel about the cover of "Viva La Fiesta"? Because we had the "Bring It All Back" cover, retitled "Don't Stop." I don't know what it is about the Japanese retitling US songs. Like, I don't get it. But again, I guess because I mean, they do say "Don't Stop" and "Bring
Right.
It All Back." I don't know. So how do you feel about the "Break All Day" song?
I mean, it was fine. Like, I don't
So,
listen to a lot of foreign music, so,
me either. As we were talking, as we have a
like, I'm
whole
not a
podcast about S Club, a whole
yeah.
podcast.
Well, I
We
mean,
don't
like
listen to
K-pop
foreign
and stuff.
music.
Like, I've never
S
delved
Club
into that
are
world.
foreign music, Katie. They are foreign,
Yeah.
technically. So, "Viva La Fiesta," "Break All Day." I liked, because "Viva La Fiesta" is already such like a high quality party song. Like, it's very exciting. Like, "Viva La Fiesta," the diners in the diner. And then I feel like with "Break All Day," they just redid the song and like gave it crack. Like, I don't know if we can talk about crack on our podcast, Katie, but they put drugs
We're not
into the
doing
song.
it.
We're not doing it, and we're not promoting it. Please don't do crack, folks. But the Japanese version of this song, it's much more energetic than the S Club version.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's on speed. Like, it is on some kind of drug. They're like, no, we need to make the song much faster. Make her sing
Yeah.
faster. The instrumental needs to be faster. So,
Well, they had to make it their own, so, I mean, they couldn't do, you don't want it covered beat for beat.
well, the thing is again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the S Club album was released in Japan in 2000, which is the same year that this song was released. So, like, Japan got this album much later than we did. Or probably around the same time, actually. let me, because I think I have release dates for some of it. No, I don't have the release dates for Japan, but I want to feel like it was 2000 and S Club's album was released. So there were competing songs, Katie, and one of them was on crack, and the other one was not. It was not a fair fight. It was not a fair fight,
Yeah.
Katie. So, but I like this version of the song much more than the "Don't Stop" cover that we got a few episodes back. So I would love to see more Japanese covers of S Club songs on crack. So moving on to the next song, it's gonna change the world, Katie. And I think now more than ever we need to change the world because the world is in a terrible place. I feel like if we had
It
more S Club
sucks.
music, the world wouldn't
Yes.
be at war with itself, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say "Gonna Change the World" is the only male-led song on this album. So it pretty exclusively has Bradley and John in it. Paul has some ad libs in it, but he doesn't really sing any verses. So "Gonna Change the World," it, and I believe, what episode did they perform this on? The last one?
Yes.
Yeah, so they perform it on the last episode of
In the
Miami
limo
in the limo, as they go
on the
out.
way to see
Kathy
Joe
Dennis
Ward.
or
Joe
Kathy
Ward.
Dennis. Kathy Dennis, it's fine. So it's the last song that we get from the album in the series. It's gonna change the world. How do you feel about this song, Katie?
I love it.
It's a good song. It's a very good song.
Like I mean, I love Joe. Yes, she's got a powerful voice, but I love the songs that you don't like it's more blended. Like you don't hear an obvious voice above the rest.
Yeah. So
So,
"Gonna Change the World" was a beautiful change to that. And plus we got the boys on lead. Like John and Bradley's vocals are beautiful. So "Gonna Change the World," I do agree it's a good song. It's a great album song, more importantly. Like the problem with a lot of albums from this era, like Steps and Bewitched and all that, is they had very cheesy, very obvious songs that didn't really mean anything as album fillers. And I don't feel like we really got that for S Club. Like they had very meaningful songs. So "Gonna Change the World," I think it was a very important contribution to the album. And I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10, Katie.
I'll give that to you and I'll take it.
Okay, so you're going to
I will
also...
call.
Okay, so we got an 8 out of 10. I'm going to change the world. The next song, Katie, and I feel like you're going to give me a very disappointing rating that's going to make me very sad and probably cry later tonight. So I really miss you, Katie. And it is the 8th song on the album. It is the only Rachel-led song on the album. Everybody Wants You was Joe and Rachel. So I Really Miss You is just Rachel. And how do you feel about this song, Katie?
I like it. Like there isn't
Okay.
one that I'm like I hate, so I mean it's hard to
Yeah, I mean, none of the songs on this album are bad, like at all.
no.
And like I said, like you said earlier, we got performances of these songs so we can like visualize it. Whereas,
Yeah.
like other bands, we just got these crappy album tracks and there's no like story or dance behind it. So I appreciate the TV series as an S Club fan because not all fans had that, you know?
Right.
No other fans had that. Like the Monkees back in the 70s, maybe. I
Hannah
don't know.
Montana fans.
So I Really Miss You. And it was aptly included in the episode titled Missing, Katie. So they were missing and they missed.
Hannah was missing her boyfriend of one day.
You know, those relationships are often the hardest, Katie. The one day relationships. But yeah, so I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, Katie. I know that's probably a little high for your liking. But I love me a Rachel-led track. I love Rachel. I love everything about her. What do you rate I Really Miss You? And don't make me sad with this rating, Katie.
7?
7. I think that's still a little too low for my liking, but I respect your opinion even though it is wrong. So you can send Katie hate mail at Katie_Carmen on Instagram and Twitter for her despising I Really Miss You, because anything less than a 10 is clearly hatred. And we will not stand for that on this podcast. So the next song, it's a feel-good thing, Katie. It's a feel-good thing, and I think we talked about this a little bit earlier with the Buenos Tiempo and it not being grammatically correct.
Right.
And I think it's interesting because I think on the album back, it doesn't say Buenos Tiempo, but in the album insert, it does say it in parentheses.
It's a feel good things on the back.
Yeah, and then I think inside it says it's a feel good thing, and then parentheses Buenos Tiempo, or it might be the UK version that has it.
It's a feel good thing, and then in parentheses Buenos Tiempo.
See, I told y'all a fact that y'all didn't know before. We've already talked about it's a feel good thing, Buenos Tiempo. Mm-hmm. So, what are your feelings on this song?
That it lies how big an airplane is.
Yeah, it gave us very
not big enough to dance through.
I thought about it because I just got back from Texas, and I was sitting in first class, as one does, and I was just thinking, like, I cannot be bothered to get up and dance down this aisle. How do you rate It's a Feel Good Thing?
6.
6. I can respect that. So I'm gonna go with you on a 6 for grammatical accuracy because I feel that's important.
I feel like I'm gonna get like in trouble for rating everything so low, but I mean, it takes a lot to rate something a 9 or a 10. Like,
well, it's clear that
I've got to really like feel it in my soul to be a 9.
I feel I really miss you in my soul, like on a very spiritual level. And then when we get to like Funky Dory and Come and Get It, like every song's a 10, but there's no correlation. Like all of my Rachel songs are gonna be 10s. It's fine.
No bias there.
I'm not biased, Katey. So the last song on the album is Hope for the Future, Katey. Mm-hmm. And again, like with Gonna Change the World, all we can do is hope for the future.
Yes.
So do you have this song is very unmemorable to me.
Yeah, I mean, most of Bradley and Joe's duets are like, you know, singles, like Don't Stop Moving and Alive and, you know, like a really funky beat. And Hope for the Future is just like a
like I'll sing along if it comes on, but I'm not going to go out of my way to play it. Yeah. So I think for this one, Katey, I'm going to rate it a 4. Yeah, but S Club can do better, and we both know that.
Yeah, it was their first album.
Yeah, give them a break. They had a lot of time to prepare it, and I feel like they could have done better. So what do you give them?
I think it was fine.
If a 3 is too low.
A 5.
A 5? So a 5 is so much better than 3, Katey.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess just math is taught differently in different parts of America, it seems. So
yeah. The Midwest is superior.
I mean, I'm not going to dispute you there, Katey. All right. So that concludes the album track listing. The two facts for the album that I want to talk about are these are the first notable writing credits for Kathy Dennis. So she wrote the songs 2 in a Million, I Really Miss You, Hope for the Future, So Right, and Viva La Fiesta. So she's partially amazing on this, Katey. So when I say notable, prior to this, she had only written one song for Dani Minogue. And then I believe she wrote like some of her solo music. Because as you may or may not know, she was a solo singer in the 90s.
Yes. I could not tell you her songs, but I knew she was.
Yeah. So she did do a lot of singing in the 90s and after S Club, because she wrote for S Club throughout their career, like from 99 up to their 2023 release of These Are the Days. Like she came in behind Simon Ellis and wrote new verses. So she's a big part of the S Club story. So
and she got to be a part of Miami.
Yeah, and of course she was in Miami. She was Jill Ward, as we discussed a little bit earlier. So not everybody has that, Katey. Not everybody was a songwriter for the first album and was featured as a actor in the series. So I think it's and then I'm sure y'all know, but Kathy also went outside of S Club and wrote for a lot of other artists. She wrote for Kylie Minogue with Can't Get You Out of My Head. She did Toxic for Britney Spears. She did this little known song by Rachel Stevens called Sweet Dreams My LAX. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but it's a very underground song. very,
Yeah, never heard of
very
it ever.
so she's had a very successful career after like her days with S Club. So she wrote for the 18s, she wrote One Step Closer, she written for Kelly Clarkson, Sophie Ellis Baxter, Sugar Babes. She wrote I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. And the second fact that I want to talk about is Dancing Queen. So while Dancing Queen was not on the album, Katie, it was featured in the Bermuda Triangle Miami 7 scene. And we got it included on the Abomania compilation album that was released in November of 1999, so just after the album. How do you feel about it not being included on the album? Do you think we
I'm
missed
fine
out on
with it.
something?
No,
You're fine with that? So how would you rate Dancing Queen?
a 3.
A 3. Katie, I'm going to go lower, and I'm going to give it a 1. This is
It
possibly,
just
it is so grating. Like, their voices sound
it was
terrible.
just beat for beat covered. Like there was nothing different from the original that
Correct.
made it S Club's own.
And I cannot tell you who's singing in the whole song. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know who's what or where. Like the color coded lyrics. I think I just put like all Rachel and Joe. Like it's just they're together.
Yeah, it
And
seems like they're singing like together. Yeah, that's what it's
I
always
don't
seemed
know.
like to me.
And the last song or the last new song we're going to talk about, Katie, is Just the Two of Us, which is included on the Stuart Little soundtrack. So interesting fact: this song was the first official release of an S Club song in the United States. I don't even think Miami 7 had started airing when this was released. Let me double check that fact because I don't want to give people the wrong.
Well, Miami 7 didn't air in the US. S Club 7 in Miami did.
Yeah, so Miami 7 or S Club 7 in Miami began airing November 6th, and the Just the Two of Us soundtrack was released on November 30th. So while we did have S Club, it was like 4 weeks after it was released. So we didn't have Bring It All Back. We didn't have the album. This is the first song released by S Club in the United States. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah, crazy. But the Stuart Little movie was released on December 17th in the United States. So the soundtrack came 3 weeks prior.
I'm gonna have to watch Stuart Little and just see. Maybe it's like in the background on like someone's radio or something.
Maybe like you can report back and we can put something out on the socials. So Katie, how would you rate Just the Two of Us? I'm gonna rate it low, so I'll give it like a 4.
4.
Like it's not amazing. It's pretty forgettable for me.
Yeah.
So
that's what I
do you agree with my
4? Yeah.
All right.
Because I asked album for a whole. Like, what do you rate?
So the album as a whole, like in the S Club discography, or just like as an album, or both?
Both.
Okay, so as an overall, I give the album about an 8 because as we discussed at various points throughout this episode, it is a very good album and we can visualize a lot of these songs. Like we have pictures in our head from performances in Miami for these songs, and not many artists have that. And I like that about S Club. And in S Club's discography, I would probably rate it 4th. Like it's because their other albums are just better. I'm sorry. Like they're just more mature. So we can keep a running tab on this. Do you disagree with me?
Well, see, I was going to say 7.5 probably for the ranking. But as far as of the discographies, like I know number 1 for me.
Mm-hmm. We can talk about that when we get to the album because I don't want to know what it is yet.
I want to say 3, but then I'm like, who would I put as 4th?
We can talk about that when we get there. Is 3 your final answer, Katie? There's no moving.
Yeah.
All right. So it is
3.
Closed. So for Dale, I rank S Club 4th. For Katey, she rates it 3rd. So set in stone, Katie. Set in stone forever now. Next thing that we're going to talk about are the chart positions, Katie. So this one's going to be ranging
I,
in
s- I
years.
see US and I'm ashamed.
Yeah, we can talk about that later, Katey. We're getting there. So we could have done better, US fans. This is why they abandoned us after the 7 album. So the charts that we're about to talk about range from 1999 through 2001. So the S Club album did chart in 2001 in one country. And we'll talk about that at the end. So, of course, their album got to number 2 in the UK. It got number 2 in New Zealand. And if you remember, Katey, all of S Club's singles in New Zealand got to number 1 from this
Yeah.
album. So it's kind of weird that the album got to number 2. I guess they took a week off and just didn't buy.
They retired.
So it got to number 4 in Scotland, number 17 in Australia. So there's like New Zealand and Australia, they're right next to each other. They're basically the same country. Don't come for me, New Zealanders or Australians. So it got to number 17. So it's weird to see that stark difference. Like number 2 in New Zealand, number 17 in Australia. Like what happened there? What happened?
Well,
Katey?
it's the same with Canada and US. I mean,
Yeah, we'll get there, I guess. All right, so I believe this, like, Scotland was where it ended for 1999, and Australia is where it began for 2000. So Austria got to number 25, so did Belgium. Canada got to number 10, Katey. So
Yeah,
Canada
see?
did the North Americans proud, and this is the highest album that Canada had. So
I'll claim I'm Canadian.
yeah, for this conversation, we are both Canadian, Katey.
Well, Tina thinks I'm Canadian, so I mean, I got that going for me.
Yeah, so that works in your favor. I'm pretty sure I can get people to say, Courtney, if you're listening, you can claim me as a Canadian. That way, this makes sense because y'all did us proud. Because do we want to go to the U.S. version while we're talking about Canada so we can
Might
see?
as well.
So in the U.S., people, the failures of the S Club community, the lowest charting country, mind you, we got to number 112, Katey.
That's shameful.
That is so shameful. But
Like,
in
what
com-
happened?
in comparison to the last album that didn't chart at all, I'll take it. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah. But
But
I mean, nobody else is even in the hundreds. Like, the
no,
lowest
none
is
of the
what,
other.
30?
And by the time we
France
get,
at 33?
yeah. So by
Like,
the
and
time
then you
we
get.
get to the Don't Stop Moving, Seeing Double album, a lot of these countries are going to fall off because they just didn't release them there.
Yeah.
Like towards the end, they're just like, we're only going to these European countries and no other ones. Forget all you other countries New Zealand. I think they stopped releasing in New Zealand after the 7th album. Like y'all got so much and y'all are doing so good, and then just like, well, you want to make us chart in the 20s? I got you. You're not getting anything else. That's what they said. That's what the record label said. Finland, Sarah's home country, she got to number 33. No, 30. Finland was 30, not 33. France was 33. Germany got to number 11. Hungary got to number 4. Ireland at 24. Then we have Sweden at number 17. And the country where the debut album charted in 2001 was Norway at number 16. So I need someone from Norway to tell us what happened in 2001 to make this album chart at number 16. Because it doesn't make sense, Katey.
No.
It's a 3-year-old
We
album.
had two, yeah. We had 2 other albums since. And
so we need answers, Norway. We need
answers from the world. Like, what the heck? So,
Sorry.
Side note here, not to do with S Club, but to do with Sunshine. I just got notification that my Sunshine music book was just delivered.
Oh, the one I had you order?
Yeah.
Love that.
I just got the notification that it's delivered. So it's in my mailbox.
Know, we have a Discord where we talk about S Club merch that pops up. So if y'all want to head over to the Discord and talk to us, we can find you things that you're looking for, because there's a lot of crafty people on there that find
the bears, the
bear,
board game,
the board game. Like we have, like between the Discord, I believe we have every piece of S Club merchandise.
The dolls.
I don't have all the dolls. Norway, we have questions. Norway. All right. And the last thing we're going to talk about, Katey, are the year-end charts, your favorite discussion. I know you love talking about the year-end charts. So in 1999, so again, this is broken up by years. In 1999, S Club were the 21st best-selling album in the UK. So that's after October. That's after 3 months. They were the 21st best-selling album. That's a really good accomplishment because.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of competition in the UK.
But not only that, Katey. Not only that, in 2000, it was the 51st best-selling album. So in 2000, their debut album was the 86th best-selling album in Australia, Katey. So, as we were talking about, S Club Down Under. And then in Canada, Katey, our North American friends, it was the 37th best-selling album in 2000. Isn't that awesome? They were on the best of for the United States or North America. All right, everyone, that is everything we have for our 5th episode. Katey, we made it here. Can you believe that?
It's so exciting. I'm surprised.
We
not surprised, but not surprised.
We haven't killed each other. I've only been fired once so far.
Yep.
So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So y'all can follow Katey.
Wormed your way back in.
Y'all can follow Katey at Katey_Carmen. That's KATEY_Carmen. You can follow me at World of S Club. And of course, you can follow the podcast at the SClubBeat. And we appreciate all hate mail. We appreciate all fan mail. We appreciate all mail and interactions you give to us. So thank you.
But most importantly, we need answers from New Zealand.
Yes, New Zealand, we want answers. So just pop over, let us know what happened and why you gave up. Because we need to know. But next week is our final episode for this season. We will be discussing Miami 7 and S Club 7 in Miami, Katey. And it's the same thing, if you didn't know. Same thing.
Yes, I did.
You did? So, yes we will be discussing
Not
that.
a fake fan.
Not a fake fan. So, y'all have a great rest of your day. Listen to the S Club album because we rated it our 3rd and 4th best S Club albums. And I think we rated it pretty high. Like a 7.5/8.
Yep.
So if you respect our, wishes, you will listen to the S Club album when you stop listening to the podcast. Because it's the only thing to do. I want to see spikes in all of the streams when these episodes air. Challenging y'all. Especially in New Zealand. We need to get this album at number 1. It's never too late. All right, bye,
I feel
y'all.
like we're giving New Zealand a hard time, but U.S., you're really in trouble.
We're going to talk about the U.S. at great length, Katey. We have a special episode for the next season where we're just going to trash America the entire time. So don't you worry. But, yeah. So y'all have a great one. Follow us on the socials. Interact with us. Give us answers. If we have trashed your country, get together and send us a petition or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Get on here and explain yourself then.
Yeah. That's the only way. We only respond to bullying.
You're listening to the S Club Beat with Dale and Katey.